Welcome to a Late Show, everybody. I'm your host, Stephen Colbert. I'm afraid I can't begin tonight's show without first addressing a story that calls into question the very nature and future of our democracy itself. And I'm talking about last night's Academy of Country Music Awards. For more, let's go to our correspondent, Keith Urban. Keith, are you there?
This is big. And the winner of the ACM Entertainer of the Year is... No way. We have a tie.
What? A tie? No! It's supposed to be one artist, one trophy as God intended when he handed the Emmy to Adam. He won it for outstanding achievement in pretending like the whole thing was the woman's fault. Now, the controversial co-winners, that is a biohazard. No one touched that. The controversial co-winners were Carrie Underwood and Thomas Rhett. You can't expect big stars like that to split this beautiful, I want to say, aluminum bottle opener. As one viewer put it, ACM Awards was a tie for Entertainer of the Year, participation trophy generation at its finest. Next up will be a World Series tie where both teams win. Loser mentality. The only point of music is defeating your enemies. There can be only one. We all remember when Paul Simon played Central Park holding the severed head of Garfunkel. Now I am the only living boy in New York. It's a fairly deep cut joke, that one. Anyway. Oh, there's big news about the pandemic. There still is one. We've now been trapped inside for 6 months, and tempers are beginning to flare, specifically between Donald Trump and sources of information. Take director of the Centers for Disease Control and shaved tauntaun, Robert Redfield. Yesterday, the good doctor testified before a Senate subcommittee and shared the harsh reality about a potential vaccine.
I think there will be vaccine that initially be available sometime between November and December, but very limited supply and will have to be prioritized. If you're asking me when is it going to be generally available to the American public so we can begin to take advantage of vaccine to get back to our regular life, I think we're probably looking at late second quarter, third quarter, 2021.
What? Second or third quarter? That's next July. I've already hoarded all the toilet paper. I've learned how to make sourdough. I've watched everything on Netflix. All that's left is exercise, and you can't make me. Now, bring a blowtorch for that stuff. When asked about Redfield's estimate, Trump disagreed with reality.
Under no circumstance will it be as late as the doctor said. Certainly during November, December would be the latest. That could be it could be in October, sometime in October or November. I don't think it's going to be much later than that.
Plus, the virus went away in April, so we don't really need the vaccine. Trump was so confident in his vaccine timetable that he called on states to reopen right now.
It's unfair to your people to keep them closed at this stage. We know the vaccine. We know the vaccines are coming, so open up your states.
That's crazy. Hey, we know you don't have any winter clothes yet, but go stumble out into the blizzard. I ordered you a parka. It's supposed to be here between October and next August. The president was also not happy when Redfield said this.
These face masks are the most important, powerful public health tool we have. I might even go so far as to say that this face mask is more guaranteed to protect me against COVID than when I take a COVID vaccine.
Wait, does that mean we're never getting rid of the masks? Look, I want to do my part, but I need to know how much longer I have to smell my own breath. I had shrimp scampi for lunch on Monday, and every time I exhale, it's like I'm French kissing a sea captain at low tide. But Redfield's right. We have to prevent the spread. And Redfield said if everyone wore masks, we could get this virus under control in just 6 to 8 weeks. But for some reason, hope makes Trump mad.
It's not more effective by any means than a vaccine, and I called him about that. Those were the two things I discussed with him. And I believe that if you ask him, he would probably say that he didn't understand the question.
That question? How the hell am I supposed to win in Wisconsin if you keep blurting out the truth? Trump had another issue with the face masks.
There are some people that don't like the mask because of the touchiness and the touching, and then you're touching everything else.
Oh, I don't like the mask because of the touchiness and the touching, and you're touching everything with the touching the hands and the face, ladies. Van Haven. Trump went on.
I think there's a lot of problems with masks. No, vaccine is much more effective than the masks, and if we get the vaccine, we have added to the fact that our numbers are going way down. You know, you see the numbers. I'm just reading you statistics that are from wherever they get them, but they're very highly qualified statistics.
So he doesn't know where they get them, but he knows the statistics are highly qualified. Well, if they're highly qualified, that means the statistics either married his daughter, have a show on Fox News, or invented a pillow. Trump continued to insist America's going to do great with this pandemic as long as you don't count half of America.
The blue states had tremendous death rates. If you take the blue states out, we're at a level that I don't think anybody in the world would be at. We're really at a very low level, but some of the states, they were blue states.
I'm not entirely sure where to begin there. This is unspeakably monstrous, especially for the President of the United States. Whoever they are, these are all human lives that he is responsible for. This is like being asked to speak at a funeral and saying, we're here to mourn the passing of Kevin, but if you take him out of the equation, this is a pretty good party. I got to ride in a limo, okay? Also, and I know this is going to shock you, Trump's wrong. Because the states with the most deaths are New York, New Jersey, Texas, California, and Florida, which are, of course, the states with the largest populations in the country. So he's just saying if you don't count the states with people, he's done a great job. Forget the presidency. I wouldn't trust Trump to run a middle school field trip. Well, if you don't count the kids, I lost at the sausage factory. I think I did a pretty good job not losing kids at the sausage factory. Now, who wants sausage? This one got bits of T-shirt in it. Plus, the highest infection rates right now are all the states that Trump won. But it doesn't matter. We're all Americans. We're all human beings. Donald Trump is the only one who doesn't care whether Americans live or die. Trump also took another shot at Bob Woodward.
By the way, I read the book last night very rapidly because it was very boring. I read it, and if you see what I said a lot of really good things. I mean, for the most part, people like to turn it around, but I said really good things in that book.
Really? Really? And you read it last night? Because here's what you said 2 days ago.
He only writes bad books, and I actually got to read it last night. I read it very quickly, and it was very boring.
It's so boring. I read it 2 nights ago, blazed through it, total snooze. Read it again last night, couldn't put it down for all the yawning. Probably going to read it again tonight just to make sure I underlined the most boring parts. Trump isn't the only member of his administration who's down on doing anything about the coronavirus. Attorney General and a man who has no idea what happened to your gumball, Bill Barr, weighed in. Yesterday, Barr said this about coronavirus restrictions.
Putting a national lockdown, stay-at-home orders is like house arrest. It's other than slavery, which was a different kind of restraint, this is the greatest intrusion on civil liberties in American history.
Oh, sure. Having to stay home during coronavirus is almost as bad as slavery. It's all in the tragic movie, 12 Months a Slob. To be fair, the administration doesn't want to just expose people to a deadly virus. They also want to flame broil protesters. Because remember back in June when Trump sent out military forces to fire rubber bullets and gas at peaceful protesters in Lafayette Square so Trump could hold a Bible like it was someone else's half-eaten sandwich? Well, it turns out that was Plan B. Because a whistleblower has now stepped forward and revealed that military police leaders weighed deploying a heat ray against D.C. protesters. Okay, there has been a lot of back and forth about these protests, but if anyone is still wondering who the bad guys are in this conflict, it might be the ones who say, the protesters are at the gates. Bring forth the heat ray. Evidently, this heat ray is something the military actually has. It's called an active denial system, or ADS. And it can make anyone within range feel like their skin is on fire. Let me explain that in layman's terms. It makes all of your skin feel like the inside of your thighs after your family convinces you it would be fun to do a biking vacation. This heat ray technology was developed years ago, but was shelved because it was deemed too unpredictable to use in war zones. So rest easy, America. The administration doesn't want you to turn weapons of war on American citizens because this weapon is way too dangerous for war. And here's how she works. The heat ray produces a magnetic field similar to a microwave, strong enough to hurt like crazy without leaving burns. Of course, to heat your protesters evenly, you're going to want to get them to stand on a rotating plate. Otherwise, they're going to get crispy on the outside. They're still frozen on the inside. It's a mess. No surprise, the heat ray looks pretty painful. Here's some footage of it being tested on a human subject.
Some people claim they've been able to stand in the beam for 4 or 5 seconds. So how long can I take the heat? Here goes.
Engage.
1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1.
Wow. Johnny Knoxville looks terrible. So, we know it works for getting CBS reporters off your property. You've been warned, John Dickerson. Stop stealing my beefsteak tomatoes. And a heat ray isn't the only weapon the D.C. National Guard tried to obtain. They also wanted something called an LRAD, or long-range acoustic device, which emits a piercing noise and then can broadcast a voice or a recording at a deafening level. They were unsuccessful at getting an LRAD in time for the protest, but they did get one for the RNC.
The best is yet to come!
1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1.
We've got a great show for you tonight. Sarah Paulson is here. But when we come back, meanwhile...